Hi and welcome to the Lady Boss HR channel. Thank you so much for tuning in today. My name is Victoria Brown and I own several businesses, two of which are within the HR and health and safety space. So we offer solutions to business owners that manage people. Thank you for everybody that has tuned in so far, and your feedback has been lovely, positive. Really do appreciate it. So thank you so much. I'm really glad that you found it helpful. There are other ways that I do share content through social media. Would love it if you connect with me. They're just on the screen now. So I will be mixing my content up each week. One week I will be talking about HR, health and safety, all that is involved within the employee life cycle and how to manage people. And then the following week I will be a lot broader, talking just in general about business and being a business owner and my journey so far. So this week it is going to be around HR. So if you haven't got staff, you've got no intentions of ever employing staff, then this is probably not the right episode for you. So I'd maybe skip this one and join me next week. That would be amazing. If you have got staff or you're thinking of taking on staff, I am going to talk about onboarding this week. So hopefully you will find this useful. So this week is all about onboarding. If you did watch my first episode, I talked about recruitment and I provided some tips on the way I find it easier to recruit. So let's imagine that you have recruited your talent, they've accepted the role, absolutely fantastic, amazing, high five, well done. But please do not sit back and relax, because it's nowhere near finished at this point in time. I read a really scary article recently that reported that at least 40% of new hires leave within the first sort of month of going to a new employer, and then a further 10 to 20% of employees will leave within the first year, which is absolutely huge. 60 to 70% of hires may leave your organisation. So when you think about all that effort, all that time, all that money that you've spent on recruitment, let's make sure that this next step you get right. So my first tip is good communication. Make sure that you communicate well with this future employee of yours. So they may be working a notice period. They may have a start date in the month, a couple of months potentially. You can be looking at up to 6 months sometimes for a notice period, particularly for somebody quite senior. Please make sure that you do communicate with them during that time. There's a likelihood that people can wobble, they can get nervous during that period of time. Just keep in touch. We actually built a whole area on our software. I own a HR software business called One HR, and we built a whole feature around onboarding for this very reason. I wanted to ensure that I could connect with the people that I had recruited within my business. So we use our software, and I'm sure you can use, if you've got a piece of HR software, use that to be able to connect with people, get them to have a look at their contract maybe in advance. You can ask them to pop in their details, share with them the vision, the values, anything that you can think of that just keeps that engagement during that notice period. Tip number 2, make sure that you have everything ready for them for their start date. And by that I mean equipment. Make sure, do they need a mobile phone? Do they need business cards? Have you got a laptop for them? Do they need a uniform? You name it, you think of it, whatever it is they need, make sure it's ready. I once worked with a client who will remain unnamed, that on the first day of one of his engineers starting, he actually made him build his desk and his chair, and it really did not go down well at all. You just look ill prepared for that person. It looks like you're not ready and that you're not really serious about their employment. So just make sure that you've got that equipment ready and you make them feel really welcome on day one. Tip number 3, make sure that you get your induction timetable prepared and ready for that person to start on day 1. And when I say this, I don't mean just one day. I think it's important that you do have a very thorough induction. You, as mentioned before, I've spent a lot of time, a lot of effort recruiting this talent, this fantastic person into your business. Don't set them up to fail. Just provide them with everything that they need to do an amazing job for you. And when I say that, I don't just mean the tools that are required to be able to perform the job. I also mean things like the culture of your business. So ensure that they can see the key HR policies within your business. I'm sure you've probably got them in a handbook already, which is amazing. Make sure they're there for them and available, and you run through those sort of key processes with them. It's also important to look at embedding this person within your culture. So clearly identify your mission statement, your vision, your values. If you've got all of these things in place, that's great, and it is probably something that if you haven't, you need to think about, and I will be doing some sessions on that as well, so please do tune in and I'll talk to you a little bit more about how to do that if you haven't done yet. But if you have, then please do ensure that you do include that within your induction timetable. Also have a think about who needs to meet this person. So who are the key stakeholders, who are the key people that will be important, maybe key clients, who does this person need to meet and engage with. Set up those meetings for them. It looks really good. It's something that I do within my businesses. When we induct somebody, they have a full timetable. We send it out to them in advance of the meeting through our software. They can clearly see what the first few weeks, months are going to look like for them, and we just ensure that the key stakeholders within the business, the people that they're going to work with on a day-to-day basis, put that time in their diary and spend that precious time with them at the beginning of their journey with us. Tip number 4 is allocate a buddy. Now, a buddy system is not something that everybody feels comfortable doing, and you may be thinking now when I'm talking, oh, my business is too small to be able to do this. But in my experience, it really does help. It doesn't have to be a really sophisticated buddy system. It can just be a case of you allocating someone just to be there for that person when they first start. We've all done it. We've all started in a new role. We moved offices recently in Manchester, and it felt like the first day in school, just to know where to make a drink, where the toilets are. It's quite overwhelming when you move jobs. There's a lot to take in. You've got to remember everyone's name. So for that allocation of a buddy, it can really help. Just for somebody that can sort of help you, point you around, show you how to get onto the IT system, for example, where to go for lunch, have lunch with you. It's a great thing to do if you can. If there's enough people in your business, then just allocate this new person with a buddy. Tip 5 is to check in with this person. So it's really important that the line manager of this new employee does check in with them. So they'll have this induction timetable, whether it be, as I mentioned before, a week, a month, just depending on the complexity of the role. There does need to be those touch points. So we talked at the recruitment episode around job advert, job description. You should already have that clearly defined role. The first sort of 6 months, if that's your probation period, however long your probation period is that person being able to perform that role. So you need to help them to be able to perform that clearly defined role. So it is important that you do have those check-in points, whether that be a keep in touch, a coffee, just to make sure that they've got all the tools that they need, the support that they need. We are, as we mentioned before, we are really trying to help this person to succeed rather than to fail. So I hope that's really useful. The best of luck with your new employee. If they've got any questions, any challenges that you're finding, please do drop them in the comment box. I will come back to you on them. Anything that I can do to help, happy to do so. So thank you so much for watching my 5 tips on onboarding. I hope it's useful. I will obviously be providing more content. I've touched upon a couple of things there around vision, value, mission statement. There's so much that I plan to talk about, but I'm just trying to break it down into hopefully useful small chunks. As mentioned earlier, there are other ways that you can follow me, connect with me. I'd love to follow you on your journey too. So they're on screen now, and if you can subscribe, that'd be amazing. Thank you so much. See you next time.